There comes a point in a man's life when attraction stops being about appearance and starts being about presence. It's in the way you carry yourself, the calm in your voice, the steadiness in your actions. You may not even realize it, but those quiet traits, the ones shaped by time, patience, and experience, make you far more attractive than you think. In today's video, we'll uncover 10 signs you're an attractive older man, even if you don't see it yourself. These are not about vanity or surface charm. They're about the subtle, powerful ways maturity, respect, and character draw people in naturally. If you enjoy thoughtful videos like this, make sure to subscribe to Psychology Tips for daily wisdom on self-growth, emotional strength, and the quiet confidence that defines a man of depth. Number 1. You carry yourself with calm confidence. There's something quietly powerful about a man who carries himself with calm confidence. It's not loud, it's not showy, it doesn't demand attention, yet it naturally earns it. When a man walks through life with composure, self-awareness, and purpose, people notice, not because he's trying to be seen, but because his peace speaks for him. Calm confidence is not about dominance or arrogance. It's about balance, presence, and self-respect. Let's explore what this truly means and why it stands out so strongly in a world that often confuses noise for strength. 1. Calm confidence comes from knowing who you are. A calm, confident man doesn't need to prove himself. He knows his strengths and weaknesses and accepts both with quiet dignity. He doesn't waste energy chasing validation or trying to fit into someone else's idea of success. This kind of confidence is earned, not performed. It grows from self-understanding, reflection, and years of experience. You've faced setbacks, made mistakes, and learned from them. Over time, you've realized that confidence isn't built on perfection, it's built on acceptance. When you know who you are, you stop reacting to every opinion around you. You walk with steadiness, not because life is easy, but because you've learned that storms don't last, and neither does self-doubt. 2. Your presence feels grounded, not overbearing. A man with calm confidence doesn't need to fill every space with his words or his energy. He's comfortable with stillness. He listens before speaking. He allows others to be heard without needing to dominate the moment. There's power in that quiet steadiness. It makes people feel at ease around you. They sense that you won't lose control, won't be easily provoked, and won't let your emotions dictate your behavior. People naturally gravitate toward those who are grounded because they offer a sense of stability in an unpredictable world. That's what you bring when you move through life with composure. 3. You don't chase attention, it finds you. There's a huge difference between trying to be noticed and being naturally noticed. When you carry yourself with calm confidence, you don't need to seek attention. Your presence already commands it. You speak when necessary, and when you do, your words carry weight. You don't compete for the spotlight because you understand that real influence doesn't require noise. It requires substance. This quiet magnetism draws people in because it feels authentic. You're not trying to prove anything. You simply are who you are, and that's enough. 4. You maintain control under pressure. Anyone can seem confident when things are going well, but calm confidence shows its true strength when life becomes uncertain. When challenges arise, you don't panic or lash out. You take a breath, think clearly, and act with intention. You know that reacting impulsively rarely leads to good outcomes. This ability to stay steady during pressure doesn't mean you suppress emotion. It means you manage it wisely. You understand that true strength isn't about overpowering a situation. It's about mastering your response to it. That kind of emotional control is what separates temporary confidence from enduring composure. 5. You move with purpose, not rush. Your steps are measured. Your tone is calm. You don't hurry through life as if you're running out of time. You've learned that patience often brings better outcomes than haste. Calm confidence shows in how you move, unhurried, deliberate, and intentional. It's not laziness, it's awareness. You take your time because you value clarity over chaos. That quiet precision inspires trust and respect. 6. You respect silence. Many fear silence because they associate it with awkwardness or weakness. But a calm, confident man understands that silence has its own power. You don't rush to fill every pause with words. You let moments breathe. You let people think. You understand that reflection often happens in stillness, not in noise. By respecting silence, you also communicate something important. You are comfortable with yourself. You don't need constant distraction or validation to feel at ease. That inner peace radiates outward, putting others at ease too. Number 2. You listen more than you speak. There's something quietly powerful about a man who listens more than he speaks. In a world where everyone is eager to be heard, the man who chooses to truly listen stands apart. His presence doesn't need to be loud or commanding. His calm attention says more than words ever could. When you listen more than you speak, you show that you value understanding over dominance. You reveal depth, patience, and confidence. You're not competing to prove yourself. You're trying to connect, to learn, and to honor the person in front of you. It's a rare quality, and it leaves a lasting impression. Below are the reasons why listening more than you speak reflects quiet strength, emotional maturity, and deep respect for others. Number 1. You give people the gift of being heard. When someone speaks, they're often not just sharing information, they're revealing pieces of themselves. By listening attentively, you give them a space where they feel safe to express what's on their mind. That simple act can change how they see themselves and you. You're not rushing to fix their problems or interrupt with advice. Instead, you let them know their thoughts have value. People remember that feeling. They remember being truly listened to, because it's rare in today's world. You don't speak just to fill the silence. Silence doesn't make you uncomfortable. You understand that it has a purpose. It gives space for thought, reflection, and meaning. While others may feel pressured to fill every pause with words, you're content to let moments breathe. That comfort with silence shows control. It tells people that you don't need noise or constant chatter to feel relevant. You're comfortable in your own presence, and that quiet assurance often makes others feel grounded too. You observe before you respond. People who listen more tend to notice more. You catch details others miss. Tone, hesitation, body language, or the emotions beneath the words. By the time you do respond, your words carry weight because they're informed by careful attention. You don't react, you respond. That difference earns respect. It shows that your communication isn't impulsive. It's thoughtful, considered, and aligned with your values. You earn trust through presence. Listening builds trust faster than talking. When people realize you're not just waiting for your turn to speak, but are genuinely present, they feel safe opening up. This kind of trust can't be forced. It grows naturally from the consistency of your attention, the way you look at someone when they talk, how you remember details they've shared, how you respond with empathy rather than judgment. You may not say much, but your silence communicates something powerful. You matter. I'm here. You speak with purpose, not impulse. Because you spend more time listening, when you do speak, it carries weight. People lean in. Your words aren't just noise. They're chosen carefully, backed by reflection and clarity.
You understand that communication isn't about how much you say. It's about what your words mean. The fewer words you use, the more they tend to matter. This kind of measured speech gives people confidence in you. They know that when you speak, it's worth hearing. You stay calm in emotional situations. A person who listens more often has better emotional control. You don't let frustration or ego dictate your responses. Instead, you absorb what's happening, process it, and then decide the best way to act. Whether it's a disagreement, a misunderstanding, or a tense conversation, your composure becomes an anchor. Others sense that you're not easily shaken, and that calm steadiness makes them trust you even more. Listening helps you understand emotions before they escalate. It keeps you centered when others lose balance. You learn more about the world and yourself. Every conversation holds something to learn about people, about perspectives, and about life itself. When you listen, you're constantly learning. You pick up on experiences you haven't lived, lessons you haven't faced, and insights you might never have found on your own. This quiet learning builds wisdom, the kind that doesn't come from talking, but from observing and absorbing. It's how you grow without seeking attention. You expand your understanding while others are busy defending theirs.
Number 3. You're comfortable in your own skin. There's a kind of quiet strength in a man who has learned to be comfortable in his own skin. It doesn't come from youth, status, or admiration from others. It comes from acceptance. It's the peace that settles in after years of trying to meet everyone else's expectations and realizing that the only approval that truly matters is your own. When a man reaches this point, something about him changes, not outwardly, but inwardly. His energy softens, his focus sharpens, and his presence becomes calmer. He stops living to prove anything, and instead begins to live with purpose and ease. That comfort, that quiet self-assurance, is one of the clearest signs of maturity, and one of the most genuinely attractive qualities any man can develop. Let's explore why being comfortable in your own skin matters so deeply, and what it truly looks like in daily life. 1. You've made peace with imperfection. You no longer chase the illusion of perfection. You've made enough mistakes, learned enough lessons, and seen enough of life to know that flaws are not weaknesses. They are fingerprints of authenticity. You've accepted that you'll never have everything figured out, and that's okay. Instead of trying to hide your imperfections, you understand them. You've learned from them. You carry them with grace rather than shame. When a man reaches this level of peace, it shows. He no longer apologizes for existing as he is. His presence becomes easy, not because he's flawless, but because he's honest. You don't compete for validation. A man who's comfortable with himself doesn't measure his worth by comparison. He doesn't need to win every argument or prove his success to feel valuable. He recognizes that someone else's light doesn't dim his own. This shift is powerful. It means you can appreciate others' strengths without feeling threatened and celebrate your own without arrogance. You've stopped living as though life is a competition, and that creates genuine peace. People around you sense that energy immediately. You don't drain the room trying to outshine others. Instead, your calm confidence makes them feel at ease. You know what you stand for. Comfort in your own skin isn't just about appearance or confidence. It's about integrity. You know what matters to you and what doesn't. You have your principles, and you don't compromise them for approval.
That kind of conviction draws respect. People may not always agree with you, but they recognize your steadiness, the sense that your words and actions align. You accept aging as a natural part of life. Many men resist aging because they fear losing relevance or attraction. But when you're comfortable in your own skin, you don't view aging as something to fight. It's something to understand. You accept that time will change your face, your body, and your energy. Yet instead of resenting those changes, you see them as proof of a life lived, of lessons learned, of endurance through seasons that others may never understand. You stop wishing to be younger and start appreciating who you've become. That kind of acceptance radiates quiet confidence, something no amount of youth can replicate. You speak honestly without cruelty. A man comfortable in himself doesn't hide behind politeness, nor does he use honesty as a weapon. He knows how to speak his truth calmly, clearly, and respectfully. You no longer need to exaggerate or impress. You say what you mean and mean what you say. People trust your words because they sense that they come from sincerity, not ego. This ability to express yourself with both confidence and kindness creates an atmosphere of respect. People feel safe around you because they know you don't play games with words. You don't seek constant approval. When you stop chasing approval, you start attracting genuine respect. A man who's comfortable in himself doesn't change his personality to please others. He's adaptable, but not at the cost of authenticity. You know that not everyone will like you, and that's not only acceptable, it's freeing. You measure your worth internally, not through the fleeting praise or criticism of others. That freedom allows you to move through life with ease. You can show up authentically without pretending to be anyone else, and that sincerity naturally draws trust.
Number 4. You treat others with consistent respect. There's something quietly powerful about a man who treats others with consistent respect. He doesn't pick and choose who deserves his decency. Whether he's speaking with a waiter, a friend, a stranger, or someone of influence, his tone doesn't change. His words don't shift based on who's watching. His character remains steady. True respect isn't a performance, it's a reflection of one's values. It's the result of self-awareness, empathy, and discipline, qualities that form the foundation of genuine strength. Let's explore what it truly means to treat others with consistent respect and why it matters more than most people realize. 1. Respect begins within. People who treat others with respect usually start by respecting themselves. They've done enough inner work to know their own worth. Because they don't feel the need to prove themselves, they don't look down on others or overcompensate through arrogance. Self-respect creates emotional stability. It allows a person to stay calm when others lose their temper, and kind even when others are rude. It's not weakness, it's mastery. When you know your value, you don't have to diminish anyone else to feel important. 2. Your tone reveals your character. Respect often shows not through grand gestures, but through tone. The way you speak, even when frustrated, says more about you than your words ever could. A person who consistently respects others chooses calm over cruelty, patience over pride. They listen without interrupting and respond without belittling. They understand that tone is a reflection of inner peace. Even in disagreement, they never aim to humiliate. That kind of control earns silent admiration. It creates trust because people know they're safe being themselves around you. That quiet equality speaks volumes about who you are. It shows you lead with humanity, not ego.
5. You respect time and space. Respect isn't just about words, it's also about awareness. You understand the importance of time, boundaries, and personal space. You show up when you say you will. You listen without checking your phone. You don't pressure others to speak when they're not ready. You know that giving someone space can sometimes be the greatest act of respect. Your consistency builds reliability. People learn that you're dependable, someone whose presence never feels heavy or demanding. 6. You don't take advantage of power. Whether it's authority at work, seniority in a group, or influence in relationships, you never abuse your position. Instead, you use it responsibly, to uplift others, to teach, and to lead by example. Those who misuse power often do so out of insecurity, but those who respect others, even when they could dominate or manipulate, demonstrate true strength. You know that leadership is not control, it's stewardship, and your ability to stay grounded while having influence makes people naturally trust and admire you. 7. You listen, truly listen. Listening is one of the deepest forms of respect. It shows that you value someone's experience, not just your own perspective. When you listen, you don't just wait for your turn to speak. You absorb what's being said. You allow silence to carry meaning. You ask thoughtful questions that show genuine interest. People open up to those who listen. They feel seen and heard, something rare in a world that often shouts louder than it understands. Your quiet attention is a gift that lingers long after the conversation ends.
Number 5. You value depth over attention. There comes a point in life when the noise of the world begins to lose its hold on you, when likes, compliments, and surface-level attention no longer feed your sense of worth. Instead, you begin to crave something quieter, richer, and far more meaningful: depth. You stop seeking to be noticed by everyone and start desiring to be understood by a few. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It unfolds as you mature, learn, and experience what truly lasts. Let's explore what it really means to value depth over attention, and why this quiet transition changes the way you live, connect, and carry yourself. 1. You've outgrown the need for constant validation. When you were younger, it might have felt important to be seen, to be admired, recognized, or praised. You might have mistaken attention for value, thinking the more people noticed you, the more you mattered. But over time, you learned something deeper. Validation fades quickly. No matter how many compliments or approvals you receive, they never fill that inner space that longs for peace. Now, you find more comfort in self-acceptance than in applause. You no longer need to prove your worth to anyone. You live it quietly and consistently. 2. You recognize that attention is often superficial. Attention can be fleeting and shallow. It's easy to capture through appearance, charm, or a well-timed word, but it rarely lasts because it's not rooted in truth. Depth, on the other hand, is built on understanding and substance. It requires listening, effort, and genuine curiosity. It takes time to form, and that's what makes it meaningful. You no longer chase moments of being noticed. Instead, you focus on being real, even if that means fewer people truly see you. Because the few who do will see you for who you actually are, not for what you project. 3. You understand the value of silence and space. Those who value depth understand the quiet power of silence. You're not afraid of pauses in conversation or stretches of solitude. You don't fill every empty moment with noise. You've learned that silence isn't emptiness, it's reflection. It's where understanding grows, where truth reveals itself, and where the soul finds balance. When you value depth, you stop chasing constant stimulation. You allow moments to breathe, knowing that peace often speaks louder than attention ever could. 4. You seek meaningful connections, not just company. You've realized that not everyone you meet will be capable of the kind of depth you appreciate, and that's okay. You no longer surround yourself with people simply to avoid loneliness. You prefer fewer, truer connections that bring calm and growth. A deep conversation with one sincere person means far more than 100 empty exchanges. You value those who listen with intention, speak with honesty, and respect silence when words aren't needed. Depth honors authenticity, and that's what you now choose every time. 5. You appreciate stillness more than stimulation. There was a time when excitement and chaos felt alive, but now peace feels stronger. You find beauty in quiet mornings, meaningful work, and steady routines. You no longer crave the rush of being admired, you crave the calm that comes with self-respect. Stillness gives you clarity. It helps you see what truly matters. That shift from chasing stimulation to appreciating stillness is one of the most powerful signs of maturity. 6. You focus on character, not image. When you value depth, you start to see through appearances. You care less about how things look and more about how they feel, how they align with your values and integrity. You'd rather live a life of quiet honesty than one that looks impressive on the outside. You don't need to post every success or prove every truth. Your character speaks for itself, quietly and consistently. Depth is not about being perfect, it's about being real.
Number 6. You take care of yourself for you. There's something quietly powerful about a man who takes care of himself, not for attention, not to prove anything, but simply because he respects who he is and values the life he's been given. It's not about vanity or trying to impress anyone. It's about living with intention, discipline, and self-respect. When you take care of yourself for you, everything about your presence changes. The way you move, the way you speak, even the way you handle challenges. It all reflects a deep sense of personal ownership and balance. You no longer depend on external validation. You're driven by something deeper: self-respect, purpose, and peace. Let's explore the reasons behind this quiet strength. Why taking care of yourself for yourself is one of the most grounded, attractive, and dignified ways to live. 1. You respect the body that carries you through life. You don't take your health for granted. You understand that your body is not just a physical form, it's your vehicle through this life. You nourish it with good food, give it rest, and push it through challenges because you appreciate what it allows you to do. You don't chase trends or short-term results. Instead, you build consistency and balance. Taking care of yourself becomes an act of gratitude. Whether it's a morning walk, stretching before bed, or eating real food, it's not about perfection. It's about maintenance, respect, and endurance. You move because you can. And that simple discipline radiates calm confidence, the kind that doesn't need to shout. 2. You value mental clarity over chaos. You protect your mind just as much as your body. You're careful about what you allow into your thoughts, the news, the noise, the opinions that clutter your peace. Taking care of yourself mentally means setting boundaries. It means saying no when you need rest, disconnecting from things that drain your focus, and surrounding yourself with balance. You've learned that a clear mind makes better decisions. You face problems with perspective rather than panic. You can slow down when others rush. And that stillness is one of your greatest strengths. 3. You understand that self-discipline is a form of freedom. You don't view discipline as restriction. You see it as power. Waking up early, keeping commitments, training regularly, these are not punishments. They're your way of honoring the man you want to be. When you take care of yourself, you stop depending on motivation and start living by principle. You know that freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from having control over what you do. And through that discipline, you earn quiet confidence, the kind that's steady, not loud. 4. You find strength in routine and simplicity. Taking care of yourself means valuing stability. You understand the beauty of routine. A cup of coffee and silence, time alone in the morning, a set rhythm to your days. You don't chase constant excitement. You find peace in structure, and that peace gives your life clarity. It keeps you grounded when everything else feels uncertain. You've learned that a simple life lived with care can be far richer than a busy one lived for attention. 5. You carry yourself with quiet confidence. When you care for yourself consistently, confidence becomes natural. You don't need to prove anything. You've built yourself through effort, through choices made when no one was watching. You know your worth because you've earned it privately. You hold yourself with calm assurance, shoulders relaxed, eyes steady, speech measured. It's not arrogance, it's self-respect. And people can sense it, that ease that comes from someone who's comfortable in his own skin. 6. You know rest is a part of strength. Taking care of yourself doesn't mean pushing endlessly. It also means knowing when to rest, to step back, to recharge, to allow space for healing. You've learned that running yourself into exhaustion isn't a sign of dedication, it's a sign of imbalance. True strength includes rest. You listen to your body. You give it sleep, recovery, and stillness. And as a result, you move through life with more energy, more patience, and more focus.
Number 7. You stay curious about life. There's something quietly inspiring about a man who stays curious about life, no matter his age. Curiosity isn't just about asking questions, it's about staying awake to the world. It's the spark that keeps your mind young, your spirit open, and your days meaningful. When a man continues to explore, learn, and seek understanding, it says something profound about him. It shows that he hasn't allowed routine or age to dull his sense of wonder. Instead, he keeps growing, keeps questioning, and keeps discovering new layers of himself and the world around him. Here's what it truly means when you stay curious about life and why this quiet quality makes you such a remarkable presence to those around you. 1. You don't settle for, "I already know." Curiosity begins where arrogance ends. A curious man never assumes he has all the answers. He recognizes that life is far too vast for that. He listens, reads, and pays attention to different perspectives, not because he's unsure of himself, but because he knows learning never stops. When you keep an open mind, you naturally grow wiser. You realize that every person, regardless of age or status, has something to teach you. This humility makes you approachable and deeply respected, because people can sense when someone genuinely seeks to understand rather than to dominate a conversation. You see life as a teacher, not a battle. Some men reach a stage where they view life as something to be endured, but a curious man views it as something to be explored. He doesn't wake up thinking, "What must I survive today?" He asks, "What can I learn today?" That mindset changes everything. Challenges become lessons, not punishments. Failures become data, not defeat. Every day holds something to notice,
a new insight, a new idea, a new detail that adds to the tapestry of your understanding. People feel that energy in you. It's light, but strong. You're not bitter about what life has taken. You're grateful for what it's still teaching. You stay engaged with the world around you. A man who stays curious doesn't retreat from the world. He participates in it. He reads the news, not to argue, but to understand. He asks questions, explores new hobbies, travels when he can, and learns about things that didn't even exist when he was younger. It's not about trying to keep up with trends, it's about staying mentally alive. You know that life is constantly evolving, and you evolve with it. Not out of fear of being left behind, but out of respect for the richness of human progress. That openness keeps your perspective fresh and your presence relevant. You don't become the man who says, "Everything was better back then." You become the man who says, "Every time has its lessons." You remain humble enough to keep learning. Curiosity and humility always walk together. When you're humble, you can admit there's still much you don't know, and that's what keeps your curiosity alive. You don't see questions as weakness, you see them as strength. You understand that the wisest people aren't those who claim certainty, but those who continue to explore. This quiet humility makes you both teachable and inspiring. People feel safe asking you questions because you don't make them feel small for not knowing. You remind others that learning is a lifelong path and that there's dignity in remaining a student of life. You find joy in small discoveries. Curiosity doesn't always mean chasing big adventures or grand ideas. Sometimes it's as simple as noticing how sunlight hits a building, learning the name of a bird you keep seeing, or exploring a new book or documentary. You've learned that fulfillment isn't found only in milestones, it's found in moments of wonder. When you stay curious, you find beauty in the ordinary. You appreciate how much there is still to notice, even in familiar places. That perspective keeps your life full of quiet joy. You don't need constant excitement, just the simple pleasure of discovering something new every day. And you keep your mind flexible. Curiosity is mental flexibility and action. When you stay curious, you don't get stuck in rigid opinions or routines. You can adapt when life changes because you understand that the world doesn't stand still. That flexibility keeps you calm in uncertain times. Instead of resisting change, you examine it. You ask questions. You look for understanding instead of control. People notice that steadiness in you. You don't panic when others do, because curiosity has trained you to observe before reacting. It's one of the quietest yet most powerful signs of emotional intelligence.
Number 8. You know when to speak and when to stay silent. There's a certain strength in a person who knows when words are needed and when they aren't. It's not about being quiet or loud, but about having the wisdom to understand that both speech and silence have their own time, place, and power. This balance reveals maturity, awareness, and respect for the moment and the people in it. Here's what it really means when you know when to speak and when to stay silent. 1. You value meaning over noise. In a world full of constant chatter, opinions, updates, arguments, you don't speak just to fill the air. When you open your mouth, it's because your words have purpose. You'd rather contribute something valuable than add to the noise. This doesn't mean you hold back your thoughts out of fear. It means you understand that not every thought needs to be spoken. You know that silence, when chosen wisely, can say more than 100 rushed words ever could. 2. You listen more than you talk. You've learned that listening is a form of respect. You allow people to finish their thoughts without interruption. You absorb what they say instead of waiting for your turn to respond. This quiet patience shows emotional intelligence.
It allows others to feel understood, which builds trust. People sense your genuine interest not because you speak loudly, but because your attention speaks for you. 3. You don't argue just to be right. When you know when to speak, you also know when to walk away from unnecessary arguments. You've realized that not every disagreement requires a winner. You pick your battles carefully. If the conversation doesn't serve understanding or growth, you choose silence. Not because you're defeated, but because peace is more valuable than proving a point. Your silence in such moments shows strength, not weakness. It reflects your ability to control your emotions rather than be controlled by them. 4. You understand the weight of words. Words can heal or harm, lift up or tear down. You don't take that lightly. You think before you speak because you know that once words are released, they can't be taken back. Your silence is thoughtful, not cold. And when you do speak, your words often carry weight because people know you don't use them carelessly. Your restraint gives your voice credibility. 5. You're comfortable with silence. Many people fear silence because it feels awkward, but you've grown to appreciate it. You understand that silence can hold peace, clarity, and even connection. Whether it's sitting quietly beside someone, reflecting on a thought, or simply taking a pause before responding, you don't rush to fill the emptiness. You respect the stillness that allows truth to settle. 6. You speak with intention, not impulse. There's a clear difference between reacting and responding. You've mastered the latter. You pause before you speak, not out of hesitation, but out of discipline. That moment of reflection helps you choose your words carefully. It prevents misunderstanding and emotional outbursts. When you do speak, you bring calm, focus, and perspective into the conversation. 7. You read the room. Some people talk without noticing how their words land. You're different. You pay attention to the energy of the room, the expressions, the tone, the unspoken feelings. This awareness helps you decide whether it's time to speak or time to stay quiet. You sense when your voice is needed and when silence would bring more understanding. It's not manipulation, it's empathy. You're attuned to people's emotional rhythms and respond with care.
Number 9. You radiate stability and reliability. In a world that often feels unpredictable and restless, few qualities stand out more than stability and reliability. When a man radiates those traits, people notice. Not because he seeks attention, but because his calm, steady presence quietly affects everyone around him. It's not about perfection or control. It's about consistency, dependability, and a deep sense of trustworthiness that others feel simply by being near you. When you radiate stability and reliability, you bring comfort into uncertain moments and strength into fragile situations. Let's explore what that really means and the reasons behind why it leaves such a lasting impression. 1. You keep your word, even in small things. Reliability begins with integrity. When you say you'll do something, you do it. It's not a performance, it's a reflection of your values. Whether it's showing up on time, keeping a promise, or following through on a task, your consistency builds quiet confidence in others. People start to trust you, not because of what you say, but because of what you do. In an age where many speak more than they act, keeping your word, even in small matters, becomes a rare and attractive strength. It shows you respect both yourself and the people who rely on you. Number 2, you don't let emotions control your reactions. Everyone experiences anger, frustration, or disappointment, but a stable man knows how to pause before reacting. You've learned that reacting impulsively often makes things worse, so instead you breathe, assess, and respond with thought. Your composure creates an atmosphere of calm, even when others are upset. People feel safe around someone who doesn't let emotions dictate their behavior. It shows maturity, patience, and a deep understanding of control, not over others, but over yourself. Number 3. You handle challenges with reason, not panic. Life tests everyone. What separates a stable man from the rest is how he faces those tests. When unexpected problems arise, you don't collapse under pressure. You analyze, adjust, and keep moving. That strength isn't loud. It doesn't boast. It simply endures. People can sense when you have that grounded energy, the kind that remains unshaken when others lose balance. Your calm during storms gives others courage. You become a quiet anchor in moments when everything else feels uncertain. Number 4. You're the same person in every setting. True reliability means consistency of character. Whether you're at work, at home, or among strangers, you remain the same person, respectful, composed, and authentic. People trust you because they know what to expect. They don't have to wonder which version of you they'll get today. That kind of steadiness creates emotional security. It tells others, you can count on me to be who I am no matter the situation. It's a rare strength that earns quiet respect wherever you go. Number 5. You take responsibility instead of making excuses. When something goes wrong, you don't point fingers or search for someone to blame. You take ownership of your part and focus on what can be fixed. That accountability speaks volumes. It shows that you're not driven by ego, you're guided by honesty and fairness. People trust those who stand by their words and actions, even when it's uncomfortable. Your willingness to take responsibility turns mistakes into lessons, not regrets. Number 6. You provide emotional steadiness to others. People often turn to you in moments of uncertainty because your presence feels safe. You don't have to give long speeches or instant solutions. Sometimes your calm silence does more than any advice. You listen without judgment. You respond without exaggeration. You bring a sense of order when emotions run high. That emotional steadiness makes you reliable not just in practical matters, but in relationships and friendships as well. You become someone others can depend on, not just for help, but for peace.
Number 10. You carry a sense of purpose. There's something quietly powerful about a person who moves through life with a sense of purpose. They don't need to announce their intentions or explain their plans in great detail. It's evident in the way they walk, the choices they make, and the steadiness in their tone when they speak. A purposeful person doesn't chase attention. Instead, they attract respect. When you carry a sense of purpose, people notice. They might not always be able to define it, but they sense that you're guided by something deeper than convenience or trend. It's not about ambition in the loud, competitive sense. It's about direction, an inner compass that keeps you steady even when life circumstances shift. Below are the reasons that explain what it truly means to carry a sense of purpose and why it leaves such a lasting impression on others. 1. You know what matters to you. Purpose begins with clarity. You've taken the time to understand what matters most in your life, your values, your priorities, and the type of impact you want to make. You're not easily swayed by temporary distractions or fleeting approval. Instead, you stay connected to the things that give your life meaning, whether that's your work, your relationships, your integrity, or your sense of service. This quiet clarity is magnetic. People around you feel grounded in your presence because you're not scattered or uncertain. You stand for something real, and that brings stability to every environment you're part of. 2. You don't waste energy on comparisons. A sense of purpose gives you freedom from the exhausting game of comparison. You're not competing to be the loudest, the most noticed, or the most praised. You understand that everyone's path unfolds differently, and that's okay. When you know your purpose, you no longer measure yourself against others. You measure yourself against your own potential, your own discipline, and your own growth. That shift changes everything. It allows you to celebrate others without envy, to work hard without desperation, and to live with peace rather than constant restlessness. 3. You handle setbacks with perspective. Purpose doesn't make life easier, but it makes it clearer. When challenges arise, you don't crumble under pressure because you understand the why behind what you do. You know that struggle and uncertainty are part of any meaningful path. Instead of reacting impulsively or blaming circumstances, you pause, learn, and adjust. People notice this calm resilience. It doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from knowing that your direction is guided by something deeper than today's outcome. That composure becomes a quiet source of strength for others who may still be searching for their footing. 4. You move intentionally. Every step you take has thought behind it. Whether it's how you spend your mornings, how you interact with others, or how you plan your future, you act with purpose rather than impulse. You're not in a rush to prove anything. You trust timing. You focus on progress, not perfection. This kind of intentional living creates an atmosphere of calm focus around you. Others might feel more centered just by being near someone who doesn't operate from chaos or confusion. 5. You bring meaning into the ordinary. Someone with purpose doesn't wait for grand moments to make life matter. They find meaning in small daily things: how you greet someone, how you approach your work, how you show patience or gratitude. That sense of meaning transforms ordinary routines into something deeper. It keeps you grounded when life feels repetitive and humble when life feels successful. Purpose gives even simple moments a sense of weight, a reminder that every day counts even when no one is paying attention.